Good afternoon, Anshuman.
Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome to today's mock interview.
Thank you, sir.
What happened? You kept us waiting?
Sir, I was caught in the traffic, sir.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Anyhow, so I think this is your second mock interview with us. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're already in the Indian Forest Service.
Yes, sir.
Where are you posted?
Sir, presently I am undergoing training at Dehradun in Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy.
Okay. So will you briefly introduce yourself besides your forestry background?
Sir, my name is Anshuman and I am from Devgarh district of Jharkhand. Sir, I have done BTech in engineering physics from IIT Delhi. And sir, my hobbies is gymming and dieting.
Gymming and dieting. Okay. Tell me, what is the current forest cover of India?
Sir, it is 21.67% as per 2019 forest report.
Okay, and what should it ideally be?
Sir, as per 1988 forest policy, it should be 33%, which is the target.
And what are the policies that the government of India has undertaken to improve the forest cover?
Sir, one is Green India Mission under National Climate Change Action Program. And the second is National Afforestation Program. And sir, apart from that, various initiatives have been taken by various state forest departments. And compensatory afforestation, there is also a law with respect to compensatory afforestation.
What do you think, in your opinion, with whatever limited exposure you had to the forest service, should be done to improve the forest cover in India?
Sir, we need to focus on multiple fronts. One is social forest and urban forestry needs to be promoted, and we have developed techniques like Miyawaki forest which can be used. The second is there are many areas which are under the forest land as per Indian Forest Act 1927, but their forest is missing because of various reasons. So plantation there can be done. And now with the improved technology, we can also promote afforestation on the wastelands.
Such an initiative we heard of in recent weeks in one of the southern states. Did you hear of that initiative?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware, sir. I will read about it, sir.
A certain member of parliament in Telangana used the drone technology to, cast seedlings in the vast wasteland. And he has done it earlier also, involving the local people with very salutary effects. So that was one initiative. I forget the name of the member of parliament, but nonetheless, it was one of the initiatives. And what do you think is the level and scale of wildlife crime in India?
Sir, there are poaching incidences particularly with respect to certain animals like tigers, elephants, pangolin, and there is the whole supply chain mechanism is there at the international level.
So can you elaborate? What is that? Where is the source of demand, and what is the supply chain like, and how it works?
Sir, the major demand is in China, and wildlife from various parts of the country in India also, particularly elephant for their tusk and tiger for their skins, and even pangolins, they are poached, and finally through various routes direct from India to Nepal to China and also through Vietnam. It has finally culminates at China because there is huge demand.
And what are the routes that some of the organized crime groups take to send wildlife products to China?
Sir, the most famous route which I came to know during training was from India to Southeast Asia and then to China. So countries like Vietnam, Philippines, Laos, they are acting as the intermediary in the supply chain mechanism of this poaching network, sir.
So what route do the poachers take? Is it by sea, or is it by air, or is it?
Sorry, sir, the voice is not audible, sir.
I was asking you that these criminals, these traffickers, they take wildlife products from the poachers, and what is the route that they take? Do they follow the air route, or by the sea, or is it by land route?
Sir, all the routes are being followed. In the land routes, sir, in certain states of northeastern India, we have difficult terrain at the border areas. So they are first this trafficking take place to Myanmar and then to the Southeast Asian countries of Cambodia and then to China. And also certain flights had been investigated regarding this poaching network. So it also takes place through the air routes.
What is the act or legislation which is in place to curb wildlife crimes? Sorry.
Sir, it is the Wildlife Protection Act. Section 9 of the Act says that hunting is illegal, and even injury to the animal is also called hunting.
When was the Indian Forest Act enacted?
Sir, it was the present act is of 1927, and before that it was enacted in 1878, and then in 1891, and finally it took its present shape in 1927.
Okay. Rajiv ji?
Anshuman, since you have you joined the services?
Yes, sir. I am presently undergoing training, sir.
Okay. And IFS also, you've written the exam in forest service, or you are in? I got a bit confused. You are with the IRTS or with the IFS?
Sir, I am with Indian Forest Service, with IFS, sir.
And IRTS?
Sir, I didn't join it, sir.
Oh, you did not join, you left it. Okay. Yeah, sorry. So then, let me ask you, one service you have joined and the other service you did not. Now, is there a distinction made by the government in terms of the conduct rules for these two services?
Yes, sir. Both the services have different conduct rules. IITS being a central service, so the code of conduct for the central services is different from the code of conduct of all India services.
Do you recollect the name of either of them?
Sir, for all India services, it is the code of conduct of 1968, which has been formed under All India Services Act 1951.
And do you know which disciplinary proceedings, under which rules are the disciplinary proceedings against a violation of the conduct rules of AIS is taken?
Such disciplinary proceedings can also take place under this All India Services Conduct Rules 1968, and there is one more rule with respect to disciplinary proceedings. Sir, I am sir, unable to recall, sir.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. You belong to Jharkhand?
Yes, sir.
You belong to Jharkhand, Devghar. Okay. How many Jyotirlings are there in the country? One of them being Devghar, Badrinath Dham.
Sir, including Badrinath Dham, there are 12 Jyotirlings.
Okay, there you go. Do you know what was the Ekta movement of 1921?
Sir, it was as far I can recall, sir, it was a peasant movement that took place in 1921.
Okay, I presume. Okay, let me first put a question on IIT. IIT, the proliferation of IIT, does it signal a dilution of the education standards in IIT? The proliferation of them in various parts of the country?
Sir, at present we have 23 IITs, and we need more IITs in order to have a balanced regional growth and in order to enhance the gross enrollment ratio. Sir, but at the same time, it is a quality versus quantity debate. So the government is also trying to focus on certain IITs that certain IITs can come up in the top 100 of the QS ranking. But at the same time, government is also trying to increase the number of IITs in order to enhance the gross enrollment ratio in higher education.
But Anshuman, specifically, I wanted an answer to my question. Maybe I couldn't coin it properly. Uh, Teaching of non-engineering subjects in the IIT, will that lead to some sort of dilution of the focus for which the engineering colleges were meant to be set up?
Sir, I believe that the non-engineering subjects which are taught at IITs, they lead to diversification of the profile of education, and the students who are engineering graduates, they also need a certain exposure to the academic subjects of humanities and non-engineering subjects, so that in order to have a comprehensive personality.
Is this suicide a criminal act in India under the Indian laws?
Sir, under section 306 or 309 of the IPC, it was a criminal act. And sir, I'm not aware if any action has been taken with respect to repealing it.
Okay, we'll do that when we review your performance. I'll give you the answers. Another question to you is, you have eye for details. Now, in the cuisine that you have mentioned, I mean, for Devghar, what are the, I mean, you've not mentioned, but what are the cuisines, popular cuisines in Jharkhand?
Sir, in my hometown, the sweets and peda are very much popular sweets because of the tourism industry, which is proliferating, because they are used as a prasad for towards Lord Shiva. And apart from that, sir, there are various cuisines of various tribes.
What is a lone wolf attack?
Sir, lone wolf attack is being done by an individual who is highly radicalized.
They don't function in groups. That's what you mean to say.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me what is the present status? Earlier, we had divided the government budget into non-plan and plan, even the expenditures, plan and non-plan. Now, what is the current way of handling the expenditure of the government?
So now the distinction between plan and non-plan has been abolished because now there is no planning commission and it has been replaced by Niti Aayog.
What is the composition of the Niti Aayog?
Sir, the Prime Minister acts as the chairman, and apart from that, there are various members who are of the cabinet rank, and there is a CEO of Niti Aayog. And apart from that, the governing council of Niti Aayog includes the Prime Minister and certain ministers nominated by him. And there are regional councils, which include the chief minister of various states, so that there can be more of cooperative federalism.
Yeah. Do you know what the Open Skies Treaty is? Open Skies Treaty.
Sir, Open Sky Treaty is of 1967. It was with respect to the peaceful use of outer space, if I am correct, sir.
Yeah. What was it meant to achieve? I mean, what is it about?
Sir, it was mainly about that the outer space should be used for peaceful purpose, not for weaponization of the outer space by various countries.
What about our extradition treaties? Are they adequate to deal with to handle the situation, or do we need strengthening of the act? Extradition treaties.
So we have the Extradition Act of 1962. Sir, I believe that we need to engage more bilaterally with the other nations where we are facing problem with respect to extradition.
Under the Act, who can make a request to another country for extradition of a particular violator of the law, Indian law?
Sorry, sir, I am not aware, sir. I will read about it, sir.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. I'll also give you some tips when we are doing that. So another area I would like to know, do you know what a joint venture is? A joint venture.
Sir, in joint venture, there is venture between two companies, and earlier it was seen that PSU had a joint venture with private companies, or the foreign companies had joint venture with the Indian companies. Like Hero Honda was a joint venture between Hero and Honda.
Yeah. Recently, a state has been added to the rail map of the country. Which is that state? The last state to have joined the rail map.
Sir, it is either Manipur or Mizoram, but I'm not sure, sir. I'm not very much sure, sir. It is a northeastern state, sir. But I will, sir, read about it, sir.
You are correct. It's Manipur.
Thank you, sir.
Correct. Absolutely correct. My last question to you. Tell me, what do you understand about the Uniform Civil Code?
Sir, as the Article 44 of the Constitution mandates, Uniform Civil Code is a code which incorporates the personal laws of the various religions, because presently we have different personal laws for different religion, and the main idea is that there will be more of national integration, and it will be in line with the principle of secularism.
What are your views on there's a demand for right to recall the elected representatives? What are your views on this?
Sir, right to recall on one hand will ensure better accountability of the government, but at the same time there is one problem that it can lead to instability in the functioning of the government. So I think that the government should be given 5 years, and right to recall on an overall basis is not a good idea.
And on simultaneous holding of elections to the state and the parliament?
Sir, I think that there should be simultaneous election, and the various political parties can come to consensus. If they come to consensus, then I believe that there should be simultaneous election.
Have you read recently? There was mention in the newspapers, a lot of discussion that a matter had gone up to the Honorable Supreme Court on an issue that critically concerns the cooperative federalism spirit. Are you aware of what the debate in the Supreme Court was about? I mean, what was the orders of the Honorable Court? Recently, just 2-3 days ago.
Sorry, sir, I am not able to recall or recollect.
Okay. Thank you so much. Arvind Mohan sir.
Thank you, sir.
Arvind Mohan ji.
Good afternoon, Ayushman.
All the best.
Anshuman, sorry.
Unmute.
Anshuman. Unmuted, I am unmuted. Can you hear me? No?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon. So it's good that you stuck to physics as your optional subject rather than choosing subjects like anthropology, sociology, just to clear through the exam. So it shows your confidence in yourself. And since you're in IFS, I just wanted to know from you, what is the contribution made by these forests into the development of Indian economy?
Sir, the first contribution is with respect to working for the livelihood of the tribals, with respect to selling the minor forest produce in order to facilitate it,
Yes.
and working for the processing of the products which are minor forest produce. And the second aspect is that now, because of increased economic growth, there has been more of greenhouse gases emissions, and there has been pollution. So in that aspect, sir, forests play a very critical role in the ecosystem services. So regarding conservation of forests, sir, the service plays a very critical role.
Maintaining our environment forests play a very important role.
Yes, sir.
Now, and most of the, I would say, the calamities that have taken place in hilly areas have been a result more or less of deforestation. Now, but still the government is going ahead on very big infra projects in states like Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh. So what's your take on that?
Sir, there needs to be certain cutoff limit. For example, in the fragile areas of Uttarakhand, beyond a certain height, big infrastructure projects should not be promoted because there can be Chamoli-like disaster. And there has been certain areas like heavy dams have been constructed. So now there should be more promotion of run-of-the-river projects that would be pro-environment. And apart from that, in the state of Uttarakhand, I think in certain areas there should be a limit on the number of tourists. So that from there we can create judicious balance between development and environmental protection.
Okay. For example, we are building a big road from Rishikesh to Kedarnath in Uttarakhand. Don't you think it will be an environmental disaster?
Sir, before taking any decision, sir, environmental impact assessment has to be done regarding what should be the width of the road and which areas should be selected while the construction of the road. So we need to construct roads, but assessment needs to be done in choice of the areas or width of the roads, sir.
Right. So after this pandemic, we are having a huge fiscal deficit. And what do you think are going to be the negative effects of this huge fiscal deficit?
So there will be multiple effects in the short term. So chances are that inflation can be high. The second aspect is that the RBI can be forced to increase the repo rate, thus affecting growth. The third can be that there can be crowding out of private investment in the country. The fourth can be that the currency can get weakened because of more rupees coming into the market.
So people some prominent economists are also saying that RBI should print money to monetize this deficit. And there is another school of thought who are saying we should not do it. So what's your view on this?
Sir, I believe that this deficit should be breached by more of market borrowings rather than directly monetizing the deficit, because monetizing the deficit will lead to more inflation and RBI will be forced to increase the repo rate, which will affect the growth of the economy. Sir.
Fine. So what are the provisions of Fibm Act in this regard?
Sir, the Fibm Act targets that the fiscal deficit should be 3% of GDP by 2022. And there has been certain escape clauses in parameters like pandemic or extraordinary circumstances. So the government has used the escape clause under the Fibm Act.
Mm-hmm. So government has laid down a timeline. By what time we will be back to that normal level of deficit? So what is that timeline? Are you aware?
Sorry, sir, I am not unable to recall it now, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So your interview is over. Now we'll start with our feedback.
Okay, Anshuman, first things first, lunchtime means that cuisine should be discussed first. Okay. Lunchtime means we should discuss the cuisine first. So, with an engineer wishing to go into the civil services, the board would expect that you have an eye for detail. Now, some of the food that I have partaken in your state is, bamboo shoots. These are, so you should sound more of a Jharkhandi than a Delhiite. ये सब वहाँ पर, रूग्र, ये सब खाना वहाँ पर कांडा, roti I've had, arsa and dugri rotis. These are all, peculiar to the area, but very popular, especially in the lower segments. When people go out to work in the fields, they have this roti and all, because after that, throughout the day, you just need to drink water. It will keep you all full, a feeling of fullness. So, I mean, these are okay. Then other things. See, the code of conduct. Since you're already in a service, therefore you can expect a question on this. On this. So where you are now in an All India service, it has the All India Service Conduct Rules 1969 and All India Service Disciplinary and Appeal Rules 1970. Your present rule. Now, the service that you did not join, also you should know something about it. It is covered rightly. You said CCA Rules 1964 and CCS Control, Classification and Appeal Rules 1965. So that is for the central services. Then on suicide, it is rightly you said 306 nahi hai, it is 309. But the debate on it is, see, and especially because, I mean, something you have to prepare a question from the point of view of why it has come in the news. It is recently in the news because the suicide rates have gone up because of the pandemic. The stress that it has caused in families and on individuals, especially the elderly. So their tendency to commit suicide has gone up. That is what the psychologists are saying. So on 309, okay, but article that pro and against debate and argument is Article 21 has provides you a right to life, but not a right to not live. So you are, I mean, but the important part of it is that the criminalization effort was made in the in the Rajya Sabha in 1997. In fact, it was the law was passed to decriminalize suicide, but by the time it went to the Lok Sabha got dissolved and it could not be passed. So as things stand today, suicide is a criminalized act, except for those persons who can prove medically that they are unfit in mind. So this is the an area that you should also be aware of, because I mean the rates have gone up. Now the last thing is the last question on that on what is happening today on that railway on that UCC also I put a question to you, Uniform Civil Code. So that covers areas of inheritance, divorce, and it is applicable only in the state of Goa as of today. And it is under section 44 of the Indian Constitution. The last part, I asked you a question on what is happening or what went right up to the Supreme Court under the cooperative federalism. It is this was the Ministry of Cooperation that has been formed under Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister. This went to the Supreme Court and there was a dissenting judgment given. So just read about it. It came in the papers yesterday. So that's about all. Other answers you gave very well. I'm satisfied. Arvind Mohan Saab.
Yes. Anshuman, it was a very good interaction that we had with you. And your answers were correct. And more importantly, the way you answered, the measured tone that you use, that is very good. So you have to just keep it up during your actual interview also. So you may not be knowing everything. It's not important. What is important is the way you answer the questions. Yes. And that on that I give you full marks. You answered very nicely. Thank you. So over to Chairman Sir for his views.
Anshuman, as has been pointed out by my other colleagues, your performance was very impressive. And if you have any questions to ask of us, you are most welcome to.
Sir, on the content part, definitely, sir, I will look on those aspects in which I need to work regarding 4 to 5 persons. So regarding, sir, the delivery part, sir, is everything okay regarding my level of voice or the speed at which I speak? Because I have been feedbacks regarding that I tend to be slightly more stressed during the interview, sir. Is it so?
I did not find anything unusual or the only problem you have, and I think you cannot do much about it, that you have difficulty in pronouncing sh. Yeah, I'm sure you're conscious of that. You know, like, instead of saying national, you say national. But that is something which perhaps has stuck with you from your childhood. and some of us who come from certain parts of the country,
Yes.
we have this problem. We can't say sure. So that is one. But it never came in the way of the quality of your articulation or the quality of your expression. And I will not advise you to work on this because in a short period of time, it's difficult to correct this. A lot of us, for instance, we can't say za, we always say ja. Like we can't say zindagi, we'll say jindagi. So this is a common fault with some of us, and part of it is region based. You come from a certain part of Bihar. I come from Bihar too, so I know that some people who come from certain parts, they have difficulty in saying sure. And but don't worry about it. Since you asked, I told you. Otherwise, I would not have told you.
Thank you,
If
sir.
you can work on it, it will be an improvement for your rest of your life. Because to a person who is hearing, he will find it a little odd, right? So otherwise, there is nothing seriously wrong. I mean, many people say a French person, when he speaks English, he gives away his French origin, right? He speaks in a certain way that his French origin is given away. An American, when he speaks English, anyone can make out that he is speaking in an American accent. So you can take it as a natural way of speaking, but if you can work on it, nothing like it. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Nothing to worry about it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Just keep smiling. Don't be very serious in your interview.
In fact, sir,
Sometimes you give a very serious expression.
In
So
fact,
you
sir,
have
if he
to
finds
keep
somebody
that
in the
smile
boat
on.
from Bihar, he'll be only delighted to listen to his accent.
No, my accent. Even I have issues, but nonetheless, one should worry about it. One should be.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And
You rightly said, sir, he need not worry about that at all. You rightly said that.
Because it did not come in the way of your
Yes. Expression.
delivery, your articulation, your communication. It did not come in any way. And I would not have mentioned it had you not asked it, right?
Yes, sir. I will try to work on it, sir. If possible, sir, it will be a benefit, sir. Thank you, sir.
Say, for instance, mentioned. If I ask you to say, maybe you will say mention, but it's actually mentioned, right? So it's like that.
Yes.
All the best to you. May God bless you, and may you take the next leap to the Indian Administrative Service. Okay.
All the best, Anshuman. Do well.
Okay.